Hey guys, welcome back to the No Decision podcast. I am your host, co-host for today, Joy, and I almost forgot my name there. But alongside with me, as always, is Wes. He's not
Hey,
gone,
hey,
right?
man, you've always been the co-host. You're not new. Get out of here with that.
Well, yeah. We're kind of sharing the duties of the main host for No Decision. But yeah, so we're gonna have 4 rounds tonight, Wes. Let's get into it. Now, the first round is going to be Alexander Povetkin versus Dillian Whyte. This is the second fight of these two. Wes, how did? Wow, this is an incredible fight. I like the first fight, but what did you think about the second fight as well?
It was pretty close until the tragic ending for Alexander Povetkin. I can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, if you guys had a chance to watch the first fight, it was a pretty much a one-sided fight until Dillian Whyte got caught with something he's never seen before. But yeah, the second fight, it it was still back and forth, but Dillian Whyte then finally had his moment to shine and prove to Povetkin that he was, a little bit better. But yeah, what do you think this means, Wes, to the heavyweight division?
I think, I think Deontay Wilder now has a new dance partner.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of the big thing that's coming out after this fight, right? Like whoever wins this would get Deontay Wilder, and now Dillian Whyte. It seems as though it looks as though it's gonna be Dillian Whyte versus Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, and that's just because the zone Eddie Hearn made a claim that at one point Deontay didn't want to fight Dillian,
Right.
and now because of this, Deontay wants every part of Dillian White.
Yeah,
So now
absolutely.
it's kind of like, okay, man, uh, this is a pretty tall task if that happens
Right.
for both guys. But you know what? I kind of want to see it happen because outside of AJ and Tyson, there really isn't much going on in that division.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And
And Andy Ruiz is fighting Cristobal Areola out of all people. Like, oh no.
well, yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, like you said, right? There's not apart from Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, who are pretty much set to have their bout in June, right? Um, there's not a lot of noises coming out of the heavyweight division, and so I don't know. Um, you know, the king, the former king of the heavyweight division, coming back against Dillian Whyte, I think would definitely make a lot more sense, right? AJ has fought Dillian Whyte, and so yeah, I think this is gonna be interesting. As frustrating as it is to watch Deontay Wilder fight because he is quite one-sided, one-dimensional, right, with his right hand. You just never know. You just never know with Deontay Wilder.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shoot. Deontay Wilder kind of reminds me of Francis Ngannou of
Yeah,
UFC.
yeah.
You know what happens when either one of those guys connect.
Right. Exactly.
Chances are it's over. And oh my God, like these two, I can see these two getting into some kind of scuffle.
Right.
One is going to make a huge mistake,
Yeah.
and that could cost them a fight.
Well, that's the thing, right? Dillian Whyte was one of the few heavyweight fighters that was able to hurt AJ. And so but obviously we've seen that fight before, and then
How that
AJ,
ended.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, and we thought that Dillian Whyte was gonna kind of start to descend, but no, I think he's picked it up, and of course he kind of ran into this roadblock that is Alexander Povetkin, and now he has this rematch. I remember this rematch was supposed to take place 2 months after the first fight, and everyone warned Dillian Whyte like this is way too fast, this is way too soon. Get your rest. Let's think back. Let's let's game plan a little bit, right?
Especially since you just got knocked out.
You just got knocked out, right? Exactly. In 2 months, it's not, and that's the thing. Like you need the boxers usually need like a whole month of training, and usually in that training you have sparring. I mean, if he was concussed and he went back to sparring, I don't think that would have been a great idea for Dillian Whyte. But yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, that's right. So congratulations to Dillian Whyte. Congratulations to Alexander Povetkin too. He's had an incredible career. He's not retiring just yet, but if he did, I think he had an incredible career. Something he could be proud of.
Hey, he was game. It was a close fight until he got ding donged in the third or fourth. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if a lot of our fans or listeners know Alexander Povetkin, but he was there when the Klitschko's was still there. So this guy's been in the game for quite a while.
yeah, man. Very very durable fighter. Very dangerous fighter at
Right.
that. And but yeah, no, it was a really really interesting fight to watch. And even Dillian White himself said that he isn't afraid to run it back again for a
Oh,
third time.
for a third time.
But
Nice.
I mean,
Yeah. By the way, Povetkin was knocked down twice in
mm-hmm,
in the first fight, and
mm-hmm.
then yeah. So
I will also say though, like if you're Dillian White, though, I will say if it's about the cash, or I think Deontay's a little bit of a better investment.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like you said, Wes, if that fight does happen, I mean, it's gonna be fireworks. And
Oh, I'm
so,
watching it. I'm
oh
watching
yeah,
it. I want to see Deontay back in there. To be honest with you,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. An American, right?
yeah.
So
Even if I don't hold him as high as a regard of to AJ
Yeah,
and Tyson Fury, it's kind of like, all right, well, I still want to see him back in there because he's still one of the more marketable heavyweight fighters.
right, yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, yeah, let's move on to round two, Wes. This one was a pretty big news. I don't know how you took it, but Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna for the WBC interim lightweight title. And supposedly, the winner is supposed to get Devin Haney, um, for this fight. And so, yeah, I just want to know what's your thought. What's your thoughts?
We, the fans, wanted tests for Ryan Garcia. I think
This is one of
for
them,
the WBC, it's like uh, you ask and you shall receive. There you go.
right?
We asked for more tests for Ryan, and we received.
Now, this is a test that he's probably. It seems as like though, like I keep saying this, and then I look like an idiot because then Ryan Garcia just looks incredible against some of these fighters. But Javier Fortuna is quite different, right? He's a mixed bag for me. Javier Fortuna is a good boxer. When he fights inside, he fights like Sean Porter. Like a lot of the punches are not gonna land clean. They're probably gonna be grazing shots. He fights quite aggressively. But when he fights on the outside, Wes, he fights like Roy Jones Jr. He's a aggressive counterpuncher. If you throw a jab, he'll try to swarm you with like 3 punch combinations. But yeah, a lot of people say like there's a lot of styles that make fights, and a lot of boxers seems to struggle against Javier Fortuna because he is so aggressive. And so yeah, I wonder what your thoughts on the styles on this fight.
That is very rare to have two different styles.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, the only fighter that I can think of off the bat that's willing to fight, or two fighters that I can think of that are willing to fight two different styles within the same fight would probably be Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury,
Right,
the guys we just mentioned before.
right,
But yeah, I mean, if you're on the side of Ryan Garcia, you don't get better unless you
keep going. Right,
fight guys like him,
right,
because the boxing world is like the world itself. It's a very very cruel and unforgiving place.
right,
And sometimes, not to say that, and I'm not saying that Fortuna is bad in that regard. I mean, he's a great fighter, It's just like what I mean by that is like because he fights two different styles, a lot of people don't really expect that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
the casual fan would just be like, okay, counter puncher. Oh, okay, he's a
No.
aggressive,
Yeah.
come at
He's
you kind of guy,
yeah.
or she's more of a mover,
Right.
right? But um, yeah, like if you're Ryan Garcia, you don't get better if you don't fight guys like these.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said, Javier Fortuna. When you look at him fight, it doesn't look like he doesn't pass the eye test for a boxer. Um, because the way of his style of fighting, it literally like invites his opponents to trade with him, right? And it's not like Roman Gonzalez, right? It's not like Chocolatito where
Mm-hmm.
he will counter you, but precisely. This like I said, he's more like Sean Porter. Like he will get in there rough, right? He'll make you uncomfortable, and so yeah, it's interesting. I like Javier Fortuna. It's great to see him back. I don't know if you saw his last fight, Wes. It was against Antonio Lazada, and that was just it was no, it was a landslide. But yeah, so winner gets Devin Haney, right? We thought that Devin Haney was gonna be the next fight for Ryan Garcia, but no, it's you have to get through Fortuna first. So yeah, what are your
Hey,
thoughts on that?
we got to give WBC its credit here because WBC promised that it would give better mandatory or structural fights,
Right,
and I think this is a step
this
in
is
the
one of
right
them.
direction.
Yeah, yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and hey, sometimes good things come to those who wait, right?
Right.
So for us, or maybe more so me than you, Joy, that is pretty much behind Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fine. If it takes that one extra fight, so be it. The worst thing that can happen is him losing, but I'm not thinking about that right now.
Well, that's the thing, Wes. I was thinking about this. I was like, well, okay. I did have my doubts on Ryan Garcia, but now it seems as though he's willing to fight anyone that we throw at him. And whenever Ryan Garcia is fighting these guys, the guy that's not fighting these guys is Devin Haney. And so for me, like you said, I think this is just gonna better prepare Ryan Garcia for Devin Haney for a Lomachenko
And right. How do you become the best if you don't fight
fight. Right,
everything? Because like I said, the boxing world, like the real world, can
right,
be a very crude and brutal place,
right, right.
or cruel and brutal place, you know, because there's gonna be random things, or not random, but rather all kinds of things thrown at you, and it's really up to you and how you want to react.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so, yeah. Interesting fact, Wes. I don't know if you know this, but Fortuna is a southpaw. So two southpaws in a row that Ryan Garcia is gonna fight. Um,
And we all know what they're gonna, if you for what they, and by they I mean the Fortuna camp, what they're gonna look for in that film study.
mm, mm.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch any highlights of Garcia versus Luke Campbell.
That left to the body. But it's interesting you say that, Wes, because I was doing some film study on Javier Fortuna, and it seems as though the one punch that he can't see is the straight right hand, and that's kind of one of the punches that Ryan Garcia, I would say, doesn't have. Is because he's a lefty fighting orthodox, so he doesn't really have a straight right. But we'll see. In the hands of Eddie Reynoso, I think he'll be a lot better. He's a more well-rounded fighter already. So yeah, we're gonna take a quick break, you guys, and we'll be right back with a little bit more. We're gonna cover some. We're really gonna dig deep for some gold, for some Golden Boy, and some Tyson and Vander Holyfield. So yeah, we'll see you back in a couple.
Welcome back to the No Decision podcast. It is now I, Wes Ibarra, running the gym. And the first thing I want to talk about with you all today is the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, is getting back in the ring. Earlier this week, he announced that he plans to fight in the Triller Fighters Club. So the Triller Fighters Club is obviously Jones, Tyson, pretty much
Holyfield.
any old guy that wants to reclaim glory. So ODLH, ODLH is looking to get back in the ring. Opponents unknown. I don't have any information on the date or the location. I don't really I don't really want to get behind this, to be honest with you. I think Oscar should just stay where he's at. He's doing just fine.
Right.
But for the listeners and you, Joy, what do you all think about the Golden Boy getting back in the ring?
Uh, we're seeing this golden age in boxing kind of trying to return.
Golden Age. Yeah, okay.
But I mean that's the thing, right? Like we've always kind of been asking like if he returns, who does he fight? Right? I mean, you can't put him against these younger guys. Like that's just not gonna be possible. And so like yeah, it's interesting, right? There's been like I guess like the name that gets echoed the most is Marcos Maidana, right? But yeah, other than that, there's been rumors of Juan Manuel Marquez and man, but like I guess it's okay. You know, I don't really have a feeling for it. It'd be funny if Oscar thinks that the fan base is excited for him to come back, but I don't think so.
It'd be an interesting idea
Ooh,
because at this point, this guy has nothing to lose. Have an exhibition rematch with Manny Pacquiao.
ooh. You think that's a good idea?
I think it's a good idea for Manny.
It's a good idea for Manny, right? Right. But I don't think Oscar would want that.
What is he gonna have like that meme of all the helicopters flying over him? And then he's gonna like, oh no, don't put Manny Pacquiao across from me. No thanks, I'm good. No, I'm
I mean,
asking you.
oh man, like
You know what I'm talking about? That meme of like the helicopters flying over, and it's
yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
like bring back a traumatic memory for someone.
yeah, yeah. Like
You think that's what would happen to Oscar if they decided to put an exhibition with Manny?
absolutely, absolutely. Like I mean, come on. We I don't know. We saw that fight already. I think it's okay. I don't think Pacquiao wants that fight. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Who do you think Oscar should get in there?
Uh, Manny Pacquiao.
Okay, yeah, I guess. I
Okay,
guess.
fine, fine. If it's anyone not named Manny Pacquiao, yeah, maybe Juan Manuel or
Juan.
a maybe Marcus Maidana. How about Shane Mosley?
Ooh, ooh, that'd be nice.
Run it
Shane
back with
Mosley.
I think. Why don't you try run? Well, he might have the traumatic memes again, but like Bernard Hopkins,
I was about to say Bernard. I was about to say Alien.
or even
Try to get that
or,
body shot back.
or
The
maybe
one.
I don't know if it's. I'm sure he could do it. Zab Judah.
Wow. I mean,
It's
we're
possible.
we're literally like just going through.
It's called Triller Fighters Club for a reason. It's
Right,
not
right,
people that are not in or that are currently not in the fight game
right.
anymore.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we could also ask Ricky Hatton if he wants to come back. No, but
That'll be funny.
that'd be funny. But yeah, I don't know. You brought up some interesting names out there, Wes. Oscar coming back. If he fights Juan Manuel Marquez, I'll probably be more excited about Juan Manuel Marquez than Oscar coming back because I don't know about you, Wes, but I love the Mexican fighters we that we grew upon watching, right? So Morales, Barrera, well, Marquez, and Oscar was also part of that, and so yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I I don't know. It's really up to I guess him and the promotion company. I'm sure
You
I
mean
wouldn't be
him and him?
surprised. Well, Triller.
Oh, Triller. Right, right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they just somehow cherry pick this,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Or maybe, or best case scenario could be like a Tyson Jones Jr. thing where it's like you really don't know who's gonna win, and then it turns out one guy dominated the other, but the result goes the complete opposite of what you thought it was gonna be.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like the reason for that Tyson versus Roy Jones fight was that it was one of the fights that we never got to see when they were younger, right? When they were kind of in their prime. Well, Tyson was kind of coming off his prime, and Roy Jones was in his prime in the early 2000s. But like, is there an opponent that Oscar really didn't get to fight? You know what I'm saying? I felt like Oscar fought, or he had the opportunity to fight anyone that was pretty hot at the time.
Well, right, and I mean that's what I mean, right? It's kind of like when I brought up those names, it's kind of like it's either someone he's fought already, or could be a name that more or less fought alongside him when he was active,
Mm.
right? Um, some might give him a little bit more hesitance than others, i.e., Bernard Hopkins and like Manny Pacquiao, right?
Right.
But then again, if you get like a Marcos Maidana or a Juan Manuel Marquez or uh shoot even a Zab Judah, it's kind of like, well, okay, this match technically was never made, or maybe has he fought Zab Judah? I can't
I
remember.
don't believe so.
There you go. See, it's gonna be like okay, and they're all past their prime. They're all old. They're gonna look good for maybe the first 3 rounds, and maybe they're just gonna be like, okay, let's just have fun here.
I think Zab Judah is quite what do you call it? He's quite in shape. I think he runs a gym in New York, so I don't think Oscar would. Yeah, I don't think he'd last. If I'm
Hey,
honest.
we all thought Tyson wasn't gonna last against Jones Jr. And it looked like, and it turns out Jones Jr. was the tired one.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, if Oscar does come back, I think he is gonna come back. Hopefully it's with against a fighter that we miss. You know, like for me it's Juan Manuel, and for you, seems as though like so yeah,
I mean, you gotta have options, man.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with Juan Manuel Marquez. I'm just saying, like, you're not always gonna get your first option. Well,
Oh well,
you
yeah,
should, but you're not. Sometimes you're just not gonna be able to land that guy because of whatever obligations they have.
yeah, yeah,
So, and I'm sure, yeah, also got to negotiate the price.
yeah, yeah, right. So, I
But
mean,
yeah, I mean, let us know who you think Oscar De La Hoya should be in the ring with. Extra brownie points if you think it should be Manny Pacquiao. But ooh, how about Miguel Cotto before we move on?
oh no, I don't think so. Miguel Cotto was still quite crisp when he retired, so he wasn't in his prime, but Miguel Cotto is a fucking beast. He's actually one of my
Well,
favorite.
again, if you put it on Triller rules, so no knockouts, no nothing, everything will be just fine.
Or Margarito.
Antonio Margarito.
Yeah,
Ooh, we'll
we haven't
see.
seen him in a while, so yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, generally, I feel like with the Fighters Club, they're gonna bring up someone that we didn't think of that we should have thought of.
Well, how old is Oscar? He's like
Old,
48, right?
old,
Right, right. Okay.
young to be a normal person, but old to be a fighter.
Oh my god, who's this guy gonna fight? Like literally, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, but let us know, everyone. But moving on, and it's our last round of the night. Um, the Tyson versus Holyfield 3, I guess, drama, if you will.
Hmm.
Earlier in the week, Evander Holyfield said Tyson turned down a $20+ million offer to fight, while Tyson later in the week said, no, the negotiations are still ongoing and the fight should still be on.
Right.
So it leaves us in a position, everyone. Who do we believe? And does this look like it's going to be a train wreck?
Mm.
Because, these guys are past their prime. It's an exhibition fight at the end of the day. It's not going to go on their records. Yet they're fighting over negotiations and whatever the political aspects of, maybe as if they were still like on top of their game.
I
And
mean,
both guys are pretty well off, so there's really not much else
there's nothing else to
to
prove.
gain and
Yeah.
everything to lose.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up in a draw as well, right? So, um, but yeah, no more ears to be bitten off. But what do you call it? I mean, yeah. I think the first two fight between these guys when they were a lot younger, it was pretty good. But Evander just had a step on Tyson, right? It just wasn't that close. Probably not as close as what Tyson thought, but yeah, like I think this is gonna be a good fight. I'm definitely gonna watch it, right? But it's quite polar opposite to Roy Jones, Tyson's Roy Jones fight, right? Because this is the third fight. It's something that we don't want to. I don't know, West. Were you asking for a third fight between these two?
No.
Exactly. It's like for some reason I have this kind of secret need or secret want to have Pacquiao Marquez 5. just for old time's sake. But
Yeah, you could pitch that. You could pitch that to the Triller Fighters
oh,
Club.
they would easily fucking make $60 million off of that fucking fight
And
alone.
that's the thing too. It's kind of like how are you gonna do all of that within 8 rounds?
Oh yeah, yeah, 8 rounds, yeah.
There's still gonna be like, well, I don't know about I have not seen any photo evidence of how JMM looks these days, but
He's looking pretty good. I think he does ESPN Deportes, so he's looking pretty good for boxing.
so it's kind of, but then again, it's like, okay, you do it over a short amount of fight time. It's like, those guys could still go another 4 more rounds.
Right. Yeah.
But it's a fight that would go on no one's record.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Oh, but I'm sorry, Wes. Who do we listen to? Right.
Who do we listen to? And is this a train wreck waiting to happen? And for me, I'm not gonna listen to either one of them.
I'm
And
I'm only
I
gonna
think
listen to Triller when it
I
makes.
think I think it's just gonna be, it is a train wreck waiting to happen. And if it doesn't ever come into fruition,
Right.
I'm not upset, to be honest with you, because
Yeah.
there's other fights I'd rather be watching.
Yeah. I mean, wow, they're offering Tyson 20 million on this fight.
20 plus. I think it was like 26 or something
Wow.
like that.
Can they even make that on the gate?
I don't know about gate, but if it's still under pandemic
Pay per view pandemic.
limitations, then yeah, a lot of ads.
Yeah. 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 I'm pretty sure these guys are gonna get like a lot of sponsors in the trunks, too. So.
I don't know about that. I'm talking about like all over the ring and like
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
venue.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm pretty sure they wouldn't mind a Fashion Nova logo.
Mike Tyson, I don't think so.
But yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, who do we listen to? Like I said, I'm only gonna listen to Triller when it happens. Um, Other than that, contract negotiations are contract negotiations. But yeah, there's probably. I don't think this is gonna be a train wreck waiting to happen, but it's probably not gonna be as exciting as a fight as we thought it was gonna be, as we think it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and I don't know. What I'm just annoyed about is that they're doing all of this for an exhibition fight.
Well, yeah,
They're acting. They're negotiating as if like all four heavyweight belts are on the line.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I feel like Triller, they're waiting for that opportunity to see one of these old dudes get knocked out, right? Like that's one of their dreams.
Well,
Is
okay, but per the rules of like Jones Jr. and Tyson, you can't.
right, right. No, exactly, exactly. But I'm saying, what if one of them gets caught, with something they don't see? Of course, you can't, avoid that. And so, I mean, this is boxing. You're in the hurt business, and if someone gets hurt, I mean,
I
but
mean, I'll tell you what's gonna happen if one of them gets caught
oh
in
my
ding
god,
dong.
it's
They're gonna
probably
stop it and they're just gonna call it a no contest.
absolutely that might be the end of Triller as well. So,
No, I don't know about that because there's obviously contracts of like liability signed.
oh yeah, absolutely, I know that, but these guys are a lot older, right? If one of them gets caught, so be careful who you pick, Oscar. I wouldn't pick my Donna right away because my Donna is a heavy hitter. So, but yeah, that's just my message to Oscar. But yeah,
Anyway, okay, Joy. Yeah, I mean, listen to Triller. Uh, I don't know, man. This looks like a whole mess. And yeah, I really want to know what everyone else wants to think about this. If this is a mess, or if they're on Tyson's side, if they're on Holyfield's side, or if you just are like me and it's just like, oh, just don't do it for the love of God. But anyway, that is our show for tonight. We're closed now. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. But for what it's worth, if you come back next week, Joy and I will have a fresh set of rounds to review with all of you. But until then, I'm Wes Ibarra. He's Joy Villapando. Be well, get vaccinated, have a great night.